after church, I think it was Bart who said, this is the best time of the week because it's the most time before the next church. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
It was after church. Like he's ripping his tie off and he goes, this is the best time of the week. It's the most time before next church.
Wait, why am I to relate to that?
Because you remember everything.
Oh.
You remember everything, especially pop culture stuff from the last 35
everything
years.
Mundane.
Are we really twice? Are we doing a game today?
That's Monday, not mundane. Monday's the first day with the most time.
I don't have one, but I'll play one if somebody else has one. No, so do you guys feel like that? I feel like that at the end of every episode. Like, that was a good episode, but this is also the most time before the next episode. So it's like I feel the most free.
I'm sorry. This is where I don't live within that thing that we were just talking about, like life averaging out. Because after that show, I sit back and I was like, wow, my brothers was really on point. Where did I fall into all of that? I need to do better. It's like, I need to do better. I need to learn more.
That's what we always say too about you. So
I believe it.
I called Dave right after the show. I'm like, what was Elijah doing?
Can you believe that Elijah, what was he sleeping? I think he was sleeping.
I think he was taking text the whole show.
You know what, Sean? You know what, Sean? You know what?
I have no idea what I missed.
On that note,
but I don't
Sean
think we
will
have,
not be.
I don't think we have Sean this episode.
Sean will not be on next episode.
Yep.
All right, so.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. I'm gonna have to. That was a spoiler. I'm gonna have to fix that. You keep talking right there.
Who, me?
I don't know.
Yes, you.
You and your life. And
Hey, Anna.
Sean, that was funny, yo. That was funny. That was funny.
I got it.
I said that about talking about you after the show just so I could bring that up.
That's not cool.
Hey,
that is not cool.
You guys
it feels right though.
All right, so where's Pete over here?
Yep, I sent you a picture.
High five, Pete. Pastor.
Oh, wrong
Hey,
side.
Jackie.
I knew you were going to be on. I knew you were going to be on the wrong side.
Pete, other side.
Other side.
All right. Man.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Sheesh.
My first
I got Elijah.
Amateurs.
Pete.
Amateurs.
Okay.
I can't work with this
video.
You guys still play that song ever?
Yep.
Yeah, we love it.
We need a new one.
We need a Holiness Unto the Lord Beats version.
Yes. Okay.
Are we back?
Someone intro.
What's up, everybody? It's time for another wonderful episode of the Prodigal Sons. It's show number 87. The topic is the culmination of our Advent episodes.
I'm gonna spank someone.
Even though somebody is echoing in the background, it's still going to be okay. So we have a wonderful show. No, we don't. That's just in the notes. We have a somewhat mediocre, average show for you guys tonight. A thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices. We look at the culmination of the Savior's birth. Christmas. So real quick, introductions. I'm Dave. Hi. And we got Sean Conroy, a guy you would not want to meet in an alley.
Ho, ho. How are you? It's just a crowbar. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right.
Just a crowbar. We got Elijah Griffin, the guy you would not want to have a beatbox competition with.
You're probably wrong, but okay. Hey, how's it going, guys? Because I can't beatbox. I can box beat.
And we always have to have an elf on the show.
Elf on the shelf?
We have an impersonator tonight. We're missing Tom Rivera, and we tried to find another minute gentleman to fill in, but instead we got a 6'2" elf on the shelf, Pastor Peter Clark.
Oh,
hey, Advent. You know, if you make a bigger word out of that, you know what that
Pastor
is?
Pete. I thought that was Buddy the elf. I didn't.
That's
it's
Petey
a really,
the elf.
It's a
That's
really
Buddy's
big elf.
brother.
It's a really big elf.
Well, that's
Okay.
Is it
Okay, what-
advantageous?
Adventure?
Advantageous is a good guess. Adventure. There you go.
We're going for an adventure in
same.
odd. No, never mind. We can't do that. We'll get
Advent.
sued for that one. We're going for an adventure in Advent because we won't get sued for that. And of course, we have the most wonderfulest producer in any podcast game, Miss Sarah Beecher.
Hello, guys.
Hello. So I wanted to start off the show tonight. Oh, first of all, click subscribe, share, all that stuff as I remember to share right now. Okay, I've shared.
Dog.
What?
That thing
We have a
Sean
Christmas dog? You got
I
me a
just had a-
doggy for Christmas?
I
that
just
a
had a
weasel?
dog jump in my lap. This is a first. She usually
That
doesn't
is
bother me. She just jumped up in my lap.
That is the cutest little dog. Why hasn't she run away from you yet?
We're
I don't
going with cute. Okay.
It's because I'm a big man. She thinks she's going to find some food near me. That's why.
Probably some in the beard left over.
That's what she was looking first. But
Mm-hmm. But
That's
after
not-
the way you've been eating lately, it's nothing that she would probably want. It's probably like
she
berries
doesn't
and granola and all that stuff that has no taste or no flavor
Yeah.
and no
get-
gluten.
She like wants to go hang out at Tom's house and like get Snickers and
And whole
M&Ms,
cheeseburgers and
entire
Oh, yeah.
cheeseburgers. By the way, Sean, I don't know if you just caught that. Pastor Pete just made fun of your dog. You should probably work that out with him later.
All right, I'll figure that out.
I'm sure
So-
you will.
I really don't
Sure
want
it
to
was
do this. I really don't want to do this to you tonight, but I really can't help myself. I got a news story that listen, my skin crawled when I read this and saw the video. I can't help myself. I got to do it. From December 13th, a wildlife rescuer in South Africa was summoned to a home in which a family found a venomous snake slithering in the branches of their Christmas tree. Jerry something, owner of Reptile Rescue Services, and was in the Western Cape area. Yada, yada, yada. Haynes arrived at the home 90 minutes later to find the snake still slithering in the branches, posted a video of how he captured the venomous snake out of the Christmas tree. So that's there if you want to see it. I'll throw that up on the feed. But yeah, it was you've never seen Christmas tree until you've seen a venomous snake slithering around in it. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
Which
He strikes back.
Reminds me, it's the garden, part 2.
pretty much.
How'd they get it out of there?
Some big tongs. I'm gonna throw it up on the Facebook feed, the video, the link, so you guys can watch it if you want.
Ugh.
Nice.
So what do you guys got going on today?
I love animal stories. I actually saw one. As you just jogged my memory. It was in Singapore. This is great. So this guy is just kind of hanging out next to a running path, and another guy runs down the path, and I guess he ran over family. What's going on?
Nothing.
A family of otters.
Nothing happened.
Trampling on some of the baby otters, and so the otters. That guy kept running. Family of otters.
What? Sorry, I'm having major tech issues over here.
So then I guess there was like a dozen otters that got mad at the runner who ran over their kid otters. So they attacked this guy that didn't do anything. And so they chased him down. They bit his ankles. They knocked him over. They bit his hip and his finger. Dude got attacked by like a dozen otters.
Who gets
Like,
attacked by otters? That's crazy.
Cutest animal at the zoo.
Where was this?
Singapore.
Singapore, you didn't hear the destination drop? Like he was like, you know how people name drop when they know famous people? Yeah, I was in Singapore. In the words of Marissa Torme and my cousin Vinny, what are you, a world traveler?
I'm pretty sure there was an F-bomb in there.
Hey.
It's one of my favorite movies I ever.
She's Peter Parker's Aunt May now, so stop it.
Is she really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's funny.
Aunt May I was like, why is Aunt May so beautiful right now? What happened?
Right.
I was like, what happened?
Yeah. We're famous for our mud.
Exactly.
I
think it
wore
looked a while,
this
Marissa Tomei's
ridiculous
aunt-
thing for
grandma.
you. Did anybody know where Tom is tonight?
So I was talking to Tom, and it kind of went like it sounded like a bunch of jingle bells and tinsel. I'm pretty sure he got kidnapped back to the North Pole by Santa's elves.
Well, there is a shortage of a lot of raw materials this year. They might need all hands on deck.
Yeah, I think they just brought him back home to the North Pole. They just came and got him. We were on the phone, and all of a sudden I could hear jingle bells, and I could hear little voices and little feet shuffling around and tinsel flying. And
was Hermie leading the pack? Was Hermie the dentist leading the charge in that?
No, he was helping Dave out earlier, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He was helping Dave. I think he was just.
That's right. Yes.
I think he was distracting Dave from helping Tom, is what it was.
They work together. That is teamwork at its finest.
Yep.
Yeah, Dave had a little dental work done this morning and is having a little trouble with his S's and his F's. So,
but I don't
appreciate it.
But I don't.
I think he might have something to do with it. He might be involved.
But see, I don't know because you're. I think you're deflecting because you kind of look like you kind of Cornelius right now, so you might be part of the crew. Nothing.
Okay, Sarah, can you throw this picture up on the feed about the pastors? I guess that Claire threw a picture up of some of the pastors of our church in front of a fireplace.
Yes, let me just do that for you.
I don't know if any of you guys saw this week that this picture that got posted, but as soon as I saw it, it's an awesome picture. It's beautiful. As soon as I saw it, I wondered, there it is. I wondered why in the heck the pastors of our church were hanging out with George W. Bush. And now that I see Tom as George W. Bush, I can't unsee it. It's just, he's George W. Bush. Maybe it's that he's, I'm looking at this picture. Maybe it's that he's standing up on the fireplace ledge and he looks a little bit taller, but he's got some of those distinguished wrinkles in his face now, and his hair is parted just so. It's George W. Bush. I can't unsee it. He will forever be that. So
I will not confirm nor deny the findings you've just presented to us. I'll just say, nice, beautiful picture. So many pastors, one district, one church. That's an amazing thing in itself.
Well, you could even say that picture has a nuclear quality about it.
Boom. That picture's the bomb.
Somebody get that. Come on, did you guys not? Oh, what? Somebody out there got that joke.
Maybe somebody can explain it in the comments. I can.
That President Bush could not say nuclear.
I know it, and he couldn't say terrorist either.
What did he say?
I got it. I got it. He would say terror. Terror.
Terror.
I got the joke. I know what you were saying.
There's a nuclear weapons.
I mean, you fooled me once. Shame on you. You fool me, can't get fooled again.
Exactly. That's it. That's what I was saying. I appreciate it.
That's what he said.
Shawnee. Why don't you tell us the gifts that you've been?
So, I felt that the pastors of our church that are there every day working hard, they deserve some special gifts. So I went ahead and ordered them each a special gift, and we presented it to them yesterday. Sarah, you have that clip available?
Yes, I do have that clip. Okay, ready?
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna roll the clip.
All right, so these are gifts from me to you guys. I think you guys spend so much time together. I just thought I'd get a little something you could spend when you're not together. So go ahead, you guys can open your gifts.
These are the nicest bags I've ever seen.
These are beautiful. I don't even want to open it. I just want to keep the bag as my present. Is there candy in here?
Can we just?
You'll have to open it and find out.
Because I'm pretty sure it's gonna get soiled by whatever's inside.
Why?
No, I
would
think
you
you're
take
good.
the bag like this?
So you couldn't see what was inside.
Are we aiming?
Yeah, open it at the same time, Dave. Don't let him see it yet. Let him open his. I know the job stress. You might.
You ready?
Go.
3, 2, 1.
And there you go. That way you guys don't miss each other at home. Or maybe you've had a stressful day with one another, and now you have
You've
a way
given me a face of Peter Clark.
So now you have a pillow. You can take it home.
Oh,
And,
no, I'm not going to lay on his...
Hey, you know what? Headbutt.
Merry Christmas, gentlemen. I hope you enjoy your gift.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's kind of, you know, what is that? A pin cushion?
Yeah.
You're just so mean to my pillow.
Like the voodoo doll? See, I meant it so you wouldn't feel lonely when you're at home. I did not mean it for...
It's a human face.
A pin. I need pins. What's that? What's
The voodoo doll?
thing? Yeah, voodoo doll. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking that.
Yeah,
that was not my intention.
Lead pastor, Royceford Church of the Nazarene.
His voodoo doll's wearing safety goggles.
Yeah.
That was the best.
I do not endorse this.
These were the best pictures I could find. I could steal off your Facebook pages to get these made. All right, how about you give the audience a Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas, guys. God
everybody.
bless.
Oh my goodness.
This is great.
I got to disconnect with her too.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
And we're back. That was such a sweet video. Oh, I love the
wish I
part
had-
when Pete was like tearing Tom's face in pieces.
I was just flooded with ideas. Like holding Tom's head in my hands. Like,
So I don't. For our non-video viewers, I don't know if you saw it. So Pastor Sean got Pastor Pete and Pastor Tom pillows of each other, with each other's face on them on the pillow. I wish I had a pillow with Pastor Pete's face on it.
I can make that happen.
For what's the you should make that available to all of our audience, you know, for like 3 easy payments of $19.99 or something. You could
Listen, if you want one, if you want that creepy Pastor Pete pillow, that extremely creepy Pastor Pete pillow, I am taking orders now. If you'd like Tom with his faux hawk and his aviator sunglasses, we can make that happen.
See, we don't have carpool lanes in PA. If we did, I would definitely just put that on a stick and just sit
yeah. Like when you run a red light, just duct tape that over your license plate, and you run those red light cameras, and it's just Tom and his aviators.
Well, one on the front, one on the back, so they can't get either place.
Yeah, you just block the license plate and just hold the pillow up to the windshield when you're running the light. Just
cops are looking at pictures like, what the heck is this?
It's Tom with us.
There he is. There's Tom is here. Look at that. He just showed up.
It looks so much clearer than he does in real life, though.
Tom's reaction to his pillow was just amazing to me. I've never experienced somebody have that deep of a belly laugh and hysterics over something so simple. It was such an amazing thing. I'm so glad I decided to videotape that and get that on. I was a little concerned though at Pastor's immediate reaction to poke him square in the eyes, but that says, but we know all about the birds, so I guess Tom's just like that size. He's like a baby bird size. So I guess that's where we're at.
I would love to know, Pastor Pete, what is the best part and what is the worst part about working with Pastor Tom?
The best part and the worst part. Should I be honest, or I should be like on a podcast or something?
No, you should definitely lie.
Like censor it.
No, you should be brutally truthful.
So Tom, like the best part about Tom, Pastor Tom, is he is a let's do it guy. Like, let's just do it right now. Like whatever it is, he's just, hey, let's just go do it. I guess it's no stopping him. The funny part about Tom is when it's something like, hey, let's do this tomorrow or something. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. But then he doesn't. and then you ask him about it. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't do that.
He's an interesting dude. I like that he's no filter. He doesn't prop himself up. Just if he screwed up, he's going to own it. If it was a bad idea, he was going to own it.
And the challenge he did with y'all with eating he gave up sweets for a month, right? He fasted.
Well, he tried.
Again, one of the things I love about Tom is like, if I made a commitment like that, my whole, breaking it would be the worst thing in my life. If I made
he's like, no, it's over. I'm done
yeah,
with that.
yeah. He's like, you know what? I tried. God knows my heart. Jesus knows my heart.
He's like, I gave it the old college try. It's over. Goodbye. I don't care. I got a picture of him. I didn't send it to Sarah. I'll try to get it to her this week, and she can throw it up there for the Christmas dinner, which, by the way, was freaking awesome. Okay. I usually don't look forward to those things, and I'm like, oh, it's just going to be people everywhere, and I can't.
There was people everywhere.
There was people everywhere, and it was a lot of people in that room, and that was freaking awesome. But I got a picture of Tom and his whole table right when they came back from the buffet line, and everybody's got their plate of traditional Christmas food, and Tom just has a complete entree plate full of desserts.
Yeah, he got this right. He got he got desserts early. Like
I don't even think he had dinner. I just think he had a slither. Desserts.
No, he had a slither of dinner. He had a little bit of real food, and while people were still getting their first portion of dinner, he was like, "I'm not wasting any time." He had a plate full of dessert.
I'm telling you, I never saw the dinner when people were sitting down at his table with their dinner. He was already sitting there with a plate full of dessert. That man, I think he's an elf. I think he lives on
candy cane.
You think he poured syrup? You think he poured syrup on top of everything?
Oh, yeah. I think he is elf. Yes, I do. I think he has pasta at home and he pours syrup on it. I really do. That part of that movie really. That's cringeworthy.
Yes,
it takes dedication. Yes. To that scene.
It does, because that is pure sugar on top of something that is going to turn into pure sugar.
Yep. Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, watch the movie Elf. So, speaking of, I mean, what do you guys do for Christmas? What do you same thing every year? Different stuff every year? What are you looking forward to? Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Oh, Christmas Day for me this year.
Or Christmas Eve, whatever.
Well, Christmas Eve we usually go visit family, stop by, make an appearance. The kids, aunt and uncle, they have a little soiree for family, and then come back. They go to bed, and then you know what parents do once the kids are asleep. If you wait till last minute, like I would do. But then Christmas morning, man, I just try my best to not move and stay in the bed and hope nobody comes and says anything or bothers me, but it doesn't work. So I get the biggest cup that I have and I make the biggest cup of coffee. And as everything is getting open, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, Santa really, yeah.
I'm confused as to what you mean. You said what parents do when the children go to bed. I feel like I should leave that one alone.
I think you should. I think you should.
I'm not really familiar with what you're.
I'm talking about rapping.
Oh yeah, that is something that parents do when kids go to bed. And
never would have took it there, but it takes Dave.
Well, that's because we're single, Elijah. We would never.
That's a wrap.
I guess we can just, hey, parents, if you're listening to this with your kids in the room, we're going to talk about some things, so you probably want to shut this off. But your kids still do the whole Santa thing and all that?
They do. Yeah, mine are in. Yeah. And my son, I think he's the only one in his class, I'm pretty sure. Still.
Elijah, you're muted.
Pastor's son.
I think mine is like, I keep saying, I'm like, hey, Santa got this. And he was like, Santa, really? I'm like, I'm not going to be the one to say it. You have to say it. Or else that sleigh will not get off the ground.
I'm real big on not lying to my kids. I'm real big on if they ask a question, answer it honestly. And they've all asked me the question, and I did answer it honestly. I said, listen, Santa's something we can have fun with, we can talk about, you can, whatever, but no, he's not real. But I have one stipulation with that,
Can't tell another kid.
If you ruin that for another kid, so help me, If I find out from another parent that you ruined that for their kid, you're on the naughty list.
You mean Abby has asked you directly? That little girl, was she like 4?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think somebody put her up to it.
No, well, actually, truthfully, Emily asked with Abby right next to her, but it's like, no, it's. I said it's just like any of the TV shows or anything you watch. They're not real, but they're fun, so you can have fun, talk about Santa and stuff. But no, come on, I worked hard. Lisa and I work hard to buy those presents. I'm not going to give the credit to somebody else.
But dude, this is the best thing about having a boy. My son's 7. It hasn't even occurred to him. He's got this much awareness, just like every other man in the world.
Listen, my son's 19.
Thank you.
He's like, when's Santa coming? I'm like, dude, you're 19, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You're almost old enough to drink.
He's like, if he's not here, I'm going to travel to the gumdrop forest. The kid was the candy cane forest. I'm going to travel to the candy cane forest to bring him here.
So I could see Sean. I could see Andreas waiting up for Santa to show, for Santa's sleigh.
I'll admit he's known for a while, obviously. I think this might be Teresa's last year. She's getting close, but he puts on the show for her. He does. Even now, he's all about it and helping her write her letters to Santa. He goes all in, even at 19. I love the kid. He's a pain in my butt, but I love him. He goes all in, acts like everything's cool. I had the same conversation you had. Like, listen, now this is how it is. But if you ruin it for another kid, I'm breaking your legs. I'm just letting you know right now. That's what's going to happen. And he doesn't. He plays that whole part. I think honestly, if we got him a suit, he would literally play Santa just to keep that available for younger kids.
We should. I would lay in bed at night in Philly, and I'd be listening. I'm like, what's that? Oh, that's just a police siren. That's not Santa.
That's a Glock 9.
I think that's not Santa's sleigh backfiring. That's for sure.
That's a car alarm. That's a car alarm. Oh man.
I don't remember ever a period in my life believing in Santa. I could be wrong, but I feel like my parents must have told me early, because I knew from early on that my mom was up wrapping the presents and all that. So
I knew, because when you say Christmas Day, like, okay, you're getting your presents tomorrow, I figured tomorrow would come, I would go to sleep, and then the next day I would get them. We had came from a family function or whatever, and for some reason, I never went in this closet. There was a closet in the dining room. I never went in there. And this one, we came back, and I was just like, whatever, and I opened it up. And this was, I'm going to tell my age here, but it was just Kitty City bags and bikes, and I'm like, and me, typical male, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. Didn't dawn on me until like 2 years later. Wait, that was the same stuff that I got the next morning. Oh, okay. But then by then I already knew. So,
See, Kyle has an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they completely believed in Santa last year. And then the 11-year-old went to middle school and got laughed at for his belief in Santa, and then he comes home and he declares to the entire room, well, of course Santa's not real. With his brother sitting right there, and his brother just looks so shocked.
Got revenge.
Wow. You know what that is? That's the kid that's the dad having a bad day and yelling at the kid, and then the kid kicking the dog. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's just issues rolling downhill. That's what that is.
I'll tell you the greatest.
I'm sorry, Sarah. We just had this conversation in front of you. I didn't even think about it. Do you know that Santa's not real?
Actually, I've never believed in Santa. Christmas was always a time where we would be wrapping presents hurriedly in each other's rooms.
Nice.
So, we would have different Santa's elves stations, and oh, this one's for mom, don't show her, and this one's for dad, it has to go over here, don't show him, and don't come in, I haven't wrapped your present yet. It was madness.
The other thing for me too with the whole Santa thing, and I don't care. I mean, whatever works in your family, I'm sure you I'm not saying this needs to be the same thing in everybody's family, but for me, I want my children, when I tell them something, to believe that it's true. So when I tell them about Jesus, I want them to believe that that is true and that happened. And I don't want to tell them a story about somebody and then have to tell them later on, oh yeah, I was lying to you about that thing. So I just want them, that was kind of the logic that came from me of like, I'm not going to mislead them about Santa for years and years and years. And then, go, oh yeah, daddy was lying, but all that Jesus stuff, that was true. You have to believe in that.
So to counter that perspective, I read from C.S. Lewis.
Here we go.
The C.S. Lewis, he's one of the biggest like Christian theology, conservative, mind thinkers of our the generations in the 19th century. But he was a literature teacher. I mean, that being a theologian wasn't his job. He studied literature, and that's what he taught, like on his day job. He wrote Christian books, kind of weird, but he really liked to believe that one of the really creative things about the way God made people is that they can imagine other worlds other than the one we're in. And so stoking some of that imaginative stuff, that's one of the reasons that we kind of keep it alive. The funny thing is with kind of like families coming together and colliding is my family, my parents, the best gift that we got, I got a bike one year. I remember I got one of those pullover hoodies, like Penn State jackets when they were in the 5-star, whatever the name of that.
Starter jackets.
Starter jacket. Yeah, I remember that. That came from Santa. The big gift came from Santa. But then Leanne's family, like all of the little gifts came from Santa, and her mom and dad got her the big gifts, like that she really wanted, because they wanted credit for the big gift.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, you have to
credit away.
And guys, don't break.
I tend to think that's much more holy than the way the Beans did it.
Yeah, I think the Beans were right, as with many other things. But guys, just do me a favor. Just don't tell Pastor Pete. Like clearly he still believes in C.S. Lewis, so don't tell him.
Wow,
he's not real. So no, I'm just kidding. Wow. If C.S. Lewis said it, it's probably right, and I'm probably wrong. So
wow. That's great, but I like that idea with the whole gifts thing, because that's how I do it. Whenever, like, if it's one of the kids' birthdays, the simple card came from me, but the gift came from the sibling. Like the big gift came from the sibling. The smallest thing comes from me. The biggest thing comes from the sibling. So same thing with Christmas.
So Barb writes in. Barb writes in, Christmas was easier when they believed and wrote letters. I knew what they wanted. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I agree with that. My kids wrote letters this year, and I know two things. That they want a lot of stuff, and they have no idea what things cost. That's. I mean, it was like a $2,000 letter. I'm not down with that.
I don't want to say lucky. I'm blessed. I'm like, hey. What do you ask your son? Hey, what are you expecting for? What are you expecting? Like a rubber band. He's like, he's expecting for Christmas as a gift what is a necessity for a parent to get him. He wants clothes. It's like, hey, give me a couple pairs of jeans, a couple sweatshirts. I love you too, daughter. Thank you. A couple pairs. She just popped in. Love you. Just simple stuff. And he's like, a couple. You
talking about Christmas and Santa. That's why she was like, want to make sure that I say I love you.
But yeah, man, that makes it so much easier. Like, it's like, and I think he's playing me though, because I think he knows that the less he asks for in situations like that, the more I'm going to want to give, because I feel so good about him not being selfish.
Interesting
psychology.
He is a smart cookie, man. He is a smart cookie.
See, Andres, I think since he keeps it so a secret for me, he always asks for the most expensive thing he ever wants. Like straight up, doesn't even hesitate, because he's like, listen, I need a little something, a little give and go here.
A little cashish. My wallet's a little empty.
He's like, I need a little, I've been keeping this secret for you, and I play along every year. I do my part, do your part.
Yeah. Well, Andreas is going to need a couple $100 if you want me to keep this ruse going here.
Now he doesn't get cash, but he is getting a new Xbox this year, so that was expensive.
What about you, Pastor Pete? You starting any new traditions this year with the new house?
No, we do have the Advent thing over here. It's the Advent tree. I see it over there. There is up there.
Oh, cool.
There it is.
I see Pastor Tom under it.
He's decorating it.
So, I mean, are you doing Christmas at the new house, or are you going to the extended family, or what?
We do breakfast at the Clarks, and then dinner at the Beans, and that's how it is. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
I think I'm
It's a good day for the day. That's all.
I think that day, like it, I love Christmas Day and I love seeing family, but a lot of times I think that day should just be spent at home. Just enjoy each other. Enjoy each other.
Low pressure. I told Lisa I was going to take care of the food this year because she's got to work the 3 days before Christmas. And she's actually getting off work Christmas Day at 7:30 in the morning. So I said, I'll take care of the food, which means I'm going to go to Wegmans and probably just buy something.
Listen, I just throwing it out there. How far are we away from each other? Block and a half at most.
Yeah.
Hey, I can cook some stuff too. We can just, have a big communal.
But I have my friend Wegmans who will cook for me. So.
But he always wants so much from you. Like you have to give him so much before him to give you something back. And it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll talk later.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. All right. So Tom's not here, and Tom's going to read the Bible verse of the day. And Tom's also going to do the tradition. So anybody have a pillow that talks? Does that pillow have like a pull string in the back of it?
What's the verse? I don't have my glasses, but what's the verse?
He can't see without his glasses. Luke 2:2 and then 22 to 38 is what we're going to be talking about today in our Dummies for Bible Studies episode. I don't mind doing the first one. Sean, do you want to do the second one maybe? Yeah, or Elijah, you have it up?
I have the Luke 2:2. The 20 Luke 2:2 through 38.
2:2 to 7. 2227, and then Luke 22 to 38. There's a lot of twos in there.
No.
All right, so I'm going to start with Luke 2, chapter 2, verse 2, verse 1. Where is Tom? I need Tom. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn. Who's got Luke 2:22?
I'm on all the way to 38, right?
Sorry.
Yep.
When the time came for the purification rites required by the law of Moses, Joseph and Mary took him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. As it is written in the law of the Lord, every firstborn male is to be consecrated to the Lord, and to offer sacrifice in keeping with what is said in the law of the Lord, a pair of doves or 2 young pigeons. Now there was a man in Jerusalem called Simeon who was righteous and devout. He was waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was on him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not die before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. And so moved by the Spirit, he went into the temple courts. When the parents brought the child to Jesus to do for him what is the custom the law required, Simeon took him in the arms and praised God, saying, "Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel." Child's father and mother marveled at what was said about him. Then Simeon blessed them and said to Mary, his mother, "This child is destined to cause the falling and rising of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be spoken against, so that the thoughts of many hearts will be revealed, and a sword will pierce your own soul too." And there was also a prophet Anna, the daughter of Penuel, in the tribe of Asher. She was very old, and she lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage, and then was a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying. And coming up to them that very moment, she gave thanks to God and spoke about the child to all who were looking forward to the redemption of Jerusalem. End quote.
Thank you.
We have a little bit to get through in the next, 15 minutes or so here. But one thing that I said I wasn't going to bring up, but I really want to, was that when I was doing some research into the commentary here, they did a whole spin on the Caesar Augustus angle and about how even though he was this most like really high, powerful emperor of Rome, that he was just used as a pawn in God's plan, because the real true power that was being born, the prophecy was that Jesus was going to be born in Bethlehem. And I like the commentary that I read that said, how do you get a young couple from Nazareth to Bethlehem 80 miles away when they might not be inclined to travel? Simple. You just work through the quote unquote political savior of the world and use him as a pawn in your plan to have Jesus to be born, the Messiah to be born in Bethlehem. So I once again, as we've been saying the last few weeks, God is certainly has this beautiful plan, and he always does, and it's just never, ever the way that we would have done it. And that's what I love about it.
Well, just our perspective of political leaders. I mean, even today, you kind of consider, we got to protect ourselves from them because they're going to bring on the apocalypse or ruin everything. When in reality, from God's perspective, it's like, oh, if I know it's something done, they can make it happen, so I'll just use them.
Yeah.
Matter of perspective. There's no more fear then. It dispels all the fear of what political figures can do.
Or in the same light, who cares who the political leader is? I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care what their agenda is. My will be done, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great way to look at it.
Well, as you were talking, I was sitting here rereading the verses, and the first line of verse 2 where it says, Caesar Augustus thought that the whole world should be registered. So he brought the whole world together to be registered. And then when Simeon comes back and says, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations. So like you said, Caesar wanted to bring the world together to count them. And God decided that in that moment, I'm going to deliver the salvation of the world. Right in the middle of what this guy thought he was doing to save everybody, I'm going to show them the true salvation, which I didn't notice until you brought up the Caesar Augustus thing. I just noticed the two lines parallel back to back. And I mean, we see that throughout the Bible. It's just really cool there that, and then you said about how he thought he was the savior, and God said, okay, I'll show you the truth in the middle of it all.
So the other thing too, when you talk about Simeon there, that I really kind of jumped out at me this week was Simeon came by spirit to the temple. There was no way, in a humanity, human mind, he wouldn't know who Jesus was. He wouldn't know what he looked like. But the really cool thing is Simeon had no idea what Jesus's life was going to look like. He didn't know about the cross. He didn't know about, the feeding of the 5,000. He didn't know about the apostles and the traveling and Jesus healing all these people and bringing people back to life, right? But he knew just by pure spirit-led intervention that he knew that was the Messiah that he was looking at. And I love the beautiful moment of my eyes have seen your salvation. God just revealed that this is the one, which is, there was probably some talk about, the miraculous birth and that sort of thing. But he just knew that this was the true salvation. This was the true Messiah.
In regards to the Spirit, though, too, because I love that we've been, looking at all this for the Spirit. In Simeon's final line to Joseph and Mary is, and a sword will pierce your own soul too, which, really foreshadows the fact of Mary sitting at Jesus' feet at the cross. And it's going to hurt, but it's also going to pierce her, like her whole belief system and the fact that she's saved through Christ. Just seeing the Spirit working in all these folks before, the last few weeks we've been talking about, the Spirit just descending to prepare for the coming of Christ, and now seeing the Spirit working in the coming of Christ. It's just really cool, because we think about the Spirit coming at Pentecost. We don't really think about it coming, as Christ was being born, as opposed to after his death.
There's always this moment. I'm assuming that other people see it like I do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but growing up, you think about the majesty of the nativity scene and how beautiful and perfect and clean and pure it is. I always thought about that when I saw the nativity scene at my house. It was, respected and just this beautiful portrayal of the birth of Jesus. And then
sacred scene.
Right. And it's so is like in contrast with, there's no room for them at the inn. And you realize that means that the place was busy. And the commentator that I was reading this week said this was a public place with other travelers and residents, and men and women were traveling, little children playing. There must have been a well where, the women were gossiping beside. But right in the middle of that, in the manger, where the animals are, and a manger is not this perfect, beautiful thing. It's a feeding trough for animals. I used to work at a place where we fed pigs, and I know what a manger looks like. I know what it smells like, and I know what it's filled with normally, and I know, that the contrast of what we think it should be, the nativity scene, with what it is. That and the commentator that I was reading said this was a symbol of what was to happen to Jesus in his life. If there was no place for him in an ugly world and all this stuff that he was in, but he was going to be perfect. He was placed in an ugly world, and there was no place for him in the world. And the only place that there was room for him was on the cross. And, it's to me, it's kind of hard to balance those two, of like the ugliness of what it might've been like with the pure scene that I had in my head as a child.
But also, I think it gives you a great perspective on what God finds interesting. Because, you can look at it two ways. That was kind of like, the dregs and the worst way to come in. But to a God who surveys the world at all times, and he sees our houses, and he sees, marketplaces, and he sees the mall, and he sees refugee camps, and he sees slums, all in the same picture. The idea of where's the most interesting place to break in to the world for once and for all. And I think we need to really capture it. Like, God becoming a person is the landmark event of all of history. The crucifixion is when that actually applies to us. But the moment when God changed to unite himself as the kind of thing that he made, like that he can't undo that anymore. It's done eternally, and it kind of applies to everything before and after happened in that moment. And so the story gets boring in some ways, but you got to imagine, like, God crafted that moment just to kind of show us, show us how special it is to be in some of those places where people are like packed in, and it's interesting, and it's not perfect, but it's even better than perfect, because it was the way it was, so it's memorable. And doggone it, it has been memorable. If God was born in a castle, that story would be pretty boring. This story just, it echoes. There's magi there, there's shepherds, there's poor, there's rich, there's different cultures. It's fun.
Yeah.
Whenever I do hear, no matter what time of year it is or whatever, whenever I hear about the birth of Christ, I always get the vision of the wise men traveling to bring Christ his gifts. That's where, for me, the scene never just takes place with Jesus laying in the manger. It takes me all the way there, that journey to get to him, from when they first see him laying there in the manger. And because of you, Dave, every time I see a nativity scene now, because of what you said last year, I always see if Jesus is in there.
I didn't
Always.
say that. I think Tom said that,
Yeah, it
didn't
was
he?
Tom.
Was it Tom?
Tom,
All right.
yeah.
It was
I'd
Tom.
never thought about it. up
I
until
always
then. Yeah.
look. I always look in there. Now I'm like, nope, scene's wrong. Nope,
Yep.
scene's wrong.
Yeah,
He's there.
I never thought about it before.
It's not his birthday yet. Nope, it's wrong.
I just, the thing too is like, not that I want to spend too much time on it, but Nazareth to Bethlehem, we think, these people went out for a walk for a couple days and they ended up in Bethlehem. 80 miles. I mean, being pregnant, traveling 80 miles. I mean, that's a significant journey. And then you realize that all that was just to fulfill a prophecy. Again, what Sean said is, it says each man to his own hometown. So everybody who was from Bethlehem went back to Bethlehem to be around when this child was born.
This miracle took place.
Pastor Pete, you had a couple things you wanted to say about Simeon, I think.
The whole idea with inclusion, a light for the Gentiles, and of course that's a catch-all word for everybody that's not a Jew, and we don't quite have a word for that in English. But I mean, when you think about like all the ethnicities across the whole world, from nations that they come from, and Indians, Chinese, Russian, African, Mexican, Ecuador, all these different, a light to all of the people and the glory of Israel. So I was in this anti-racism class, a little while ago that our mayor invited us to be part of. And it was a Christian class, which is pretty cool. And the leader, he played one of those fun games with us where, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I mean, here, Sarah, I'm going to put you on the block. Everybody imagine yourself as a tiger. You got it? Nod your head when you can imagine yourself as a tiger. Okay. Now, what gender of a tiger are you? Are you a man? Are you a boy tiger or a girl tiger? Sarah, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm like a young girl tiger.
You're like a young girl tiger? All right.
I'm like,
you ruined it for me. It's like these mind games that you play where I asked that of my wife one time. She's like, hey, I'm a male tiger. That's weird. Yeah. How do I think I'm a male tiger? I'm a girl.
Because that's projected as being the biggest, the strongest, the most feared, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
so anyway,
she clearly is in that household. So anyway.
Yes, she definitely is. If tigers were parents, that would be her. But the idea of you can imagine the nativity scene, or this Mary Joseph baby Jesus is laying down in the manger, and you look down at the manger scene and picture the baby Jesus, and then you ask yourself the question, what ethnicity is the baby? And of course, we all know the correct answer is Jewish. I mean, it's Jewish. So this is not a commentary on, culture. We all know that. Not going to change that. The Oriental Jesus, the Black Jesus, all those are interesting efforts, to be honest, because you're trying to make Jesus like you, or white baby Jesus, And I got to be honest, when I look down on the manger, I see white baby Jesus. I may know that he's Jewish, but the exercise that the leader had encouraged us to do was to imagine that the baby Jesus is like a very different ethnicity than we are. So imagine little Black baby Jesus sent to save all the white people in the world. And could I place my faith in little Indian Jesus, that he would be sent to save the entire world? And to the degree with which you are able to imagine another ethnicity being sent to your salvation, and your ability to owe your allegiance and your love and your care, shows how much you are ready for a light to the Gentiles, that everybody, truly everybody in the whole world is included in this salvation. And it's to the glory of Israel, because it's through their history, it's through their peoplehood, but it's truly uniting every kind of person, which is the creativity of God expressed in all the different ways he made people, with languages, colors, cultures, everything else. That's a fun little exercise. I don't know what you pictured in the manger, or if what kind of things that stirs up inside of all you guys.
Certainly gives a whole new perspective to the issue of tribalism, and to realize that the only tribe that really matters is that we belong to the tribe of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it's beyond colors and beyond skin color and nationality and language, and and I just started thinking about that a year or two ago, that that, Jesus didn't look like me. He died for me. He didn't look like me. And, and I submit to him no matter what he looked like or whatever, whatever hometown, whatever language he spoke, that's he's still my king.
Yeah, matter of fact, that's jogging my memory of a cross-cultural orientation that I went 2 years ago before going on the mission field. And again, they said, picture your typical Christian, just picture that person in your head. And I said, okay, now take statistically, who is the typical Christian speaker?
Wow.
Globally? It is a woman, non-English speaker. And then that just kind of throws off your auto image in your mind. It's like, no, wait.
Southern Baptist. Yeah.
Hey, it's a Southern Baptist white guy.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
Statistically, it ain't. It's
Yeah.
probably more likely to be Chinese than American. I mean, it's weird. It messes with your mind when you start thinking as big as God thinks about the salvation of all people.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Yep.
The salvation of all. You know what? It's not necessarily Christmas, but Christian. Like, have any of you ever seen the movie Amistad? Well, the Amistad was a slave ship. It's a crazy story, but you should look into it. But when they came to this country, when the slaves came to this country, when they got off the ships, one of the Christians that you said you would envision being, white guy dressed in a suit, carrying a Bible, gave one of these slaves a Bible. Now, he was African. He couldn't read it. He didn't know what it was, but it just shows that Christ is universal and he just transcends, because through the whole movie, he was just looking through it and just watching it and just watching it. He was just watching it and looking through the books and looking through the book. And then eventually at the end, one of the guys said, "You can stop pretending. We're free now. We get to leave." He said, "No, I'm not pretending. This guy," he started saying, "this guy, everyone follows him." And he started telling the story without being able to actually read the Bible. And I always thought that was amazing. It was like, if Jesus Christ is going to get to you, he's going to get to you no matter what. He's universal. So I just wanted to put that up. That's all. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
Even if you're hearing it through the eyes of people who put you on a slave ship, that's messed up stuff. How in the world do you ever get your perspective fixed with that kind of background?
But at the end of that, he didn't want to leave, because when they left, he made sure he took that Bible with him because he wanted to spread the word when he got back. True story, though. The Amistad thing is true story, though. Sorry, I didn't mean to damper everybody's Christmas spirit.
You didn't damper anything. We're just waiting for
something to think
So I was going to say this earlier. I forgot. So I'm just going to throw it out there now. Next week, we're going to be off. We're taking 3 months off, right, Sarah?
Oh, gosh.
No, we're taking next week off. We might post a little something next Tuesday night, but we're not going to do a full episode. Just take this with you throughout the Christmas season, and find your way to a church, invite a friend, for that Christmas Eve service. It's even if you haven't been in church for a long time, it's worth going, to celebrate the birth of Christ. And you guys got anything else before we close out?
I bet before we go out, like anybody that is listening or curious, like I've been sitting back thinking of all the things that I want. It's a selfish thing. I was thinking of all the things that I want for myself, whether it be Christmas gifts or whatever. And every time I think of something that I want, I find a reason. I've been finding a reason to give something to someone else, whether it's paying forward or, in Dunkin' Donuts line, or giving somebody an extra tip, if we go eat somewhere. I got you covered. Actually, I owe Lisa coffee. You don't get anything. But if you can find it in your heart to challenge yourself to do that, it's not about what you get. It's more about what you give, and learning that more and more each day because of the people that I'm surrounded by. And yeah, so that's all.
Yeah. Somebody posted it, on Facebook this week, is something to the effect of, the only thing I want for Christmas as a dad is just another chance to sit around a room with no work to do, drinking a cup of coffee, watching my family be together and laugh and joke and tell stories, and just those little nuances that only family knows. And we're not promised that. And so if you have that or some semblance of that, you praise God for it, and don't forget to include him, and read the Bible verse, a couple verses before you start, and remember why you're there, to celebrate the birth of a baby in a manger who, never found a place on this earth except for on a cross, and was this miraculous plan of God to redeem us. So, celebrate that time, that moment. There's nothing that makes me smile so much as just being around, family on Christmas, and remembering that Christ gave everything for us to be able to remember him that day, and to have a peace that he never had, quite frankly. So.
And to express love likewise. I that little story, it hits me every time I hear it, and when the dad says, "But son, I love you," and the dad says, "Dad, I don't want you to love me. I want you to play football with me." And this whole idea that, our love is in our actions. Our presence is more than what we say. It's what we are willing to, when God says God with us, he wants to actually spend time with us. And so we should spend time with each other. And yeah.
Guess that makes it my turn.
Makes it your turn, sir.
All right. Father God, again, we just want to thank you for continuing to be with us, sit here and listen to us every week. Continue to give us the strength to go on every week, because there's always something going on, Lord, but you continue to carry us through all that. Father, for this week, I pray for a friend of Dave who's in need. Father, you know that situation, you know what's going on. Father, be in that, be with them. For Kyle and his family, Pastor Pete's friend, Father, I can't imagine the situation they're in, but be with them, bring a sense of peace, allow them to grieve, and help them find a way to move on. It's not easy. I know from experience that it's not easy, but help them find a way, Lord. For Randy and his family, continue to work in that situation, Lord, be with them. Father, this time of year, there's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of different things going on, and we try to remember what it's about, and it's about peace and joy and love and generosity and humility. And like everything else in our lives, we find a reason to celebrate. We give gifts and throw parties, and you are not a reason for a season. You are to be celebrated every day, because without your sacrifice, our salvation is not possible. Without the sacrifice that Joseph took, continuing to stay with his wife, even though she was pregnant and he knew it wasn't his child, Father. Mary giving up her reputation to serve you. And all those that served before, and all those who have served after, and those who will serve long after my time on this earth is done, Father. There is no one single day I don't want to celebrate your birth. There's not one single day I don't want to celebrate your death, your resurrection. Put it in our hearts to make it the Christmas season year round, and remember it as a salvation season, a love season, a sacrificial season, because it's not easy for everyone. So help us to find ways to go outside our comfort zone and bring a little joy and peace and love to those who need it this time of year. Father, I just thank you. I love you. We all love you. Just continue to work in us and show us the work that you have prepared for us, Father. We ask this in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Don't let Amazon, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, all that stuff, don't let them steal your Christmas joy. It's not what Christmas is about.
Were you just saying those because those are the places you'll accept gifts from, or?
I'm not going to say.
Wish you'd have said that a couple weeks ago. I'm out of money.
Yeah, I heard Home Depot. Home Depot has stock in you. That's what I heard, Pastor. Their quarterly projection included you buying a house. That's what I heard. Hey, I want you guys to all have a super happy Christmas. And what do we have in the notes here? A thrill of hope. The weary world rejoices, which I stole from Pastor Pete earlier.
Yonder breaks a new and glorious morning. Bring it. Holy night.
Yep.
I'm on Project Enjoy Christmas, and let me tell you, God is so good, and I've found ways to really find joy everywhere. That's kind of new for me. The weird, grumpy pastor, bah humbug.
What's weird is that you have a picture of Mario in your background as if that is a family member. I'm confused.
I just saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just saw that.
I had to wait till the end of the show to mention it. But why do you have a picture of Mario? I mean, are you trying to relive your childhood? Man. Are you trying to relive your childhood or what? Like, I know it's Rain. I know. That's his God.
All I got to say is this has just been a wonderful episode. I'm really happy with the way that we wrapped up this Advent, trilogy episode that we're doing. But this Elijah, let me ask you, Sean, Pastor, Sarah, does it feel like just in this episode there might have just been a little tiny something missing? Just a little tiny something missing. I feel like something tiny was missing.
Something kernel size.
Now it feels like we're together. I just feel like something really tiny was missing this episode.
That's a shame.
Anyway, Merry Christmas, guys. Love you.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Look for our video next week.
Yep.
I bid you adieu.
Good days.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad that I was working the mute button today.